Alright, Dad, I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown on how I like to plan my off-road motorcycle adventures. So, I kind of split my process between three different sources. One is Google Earth, and the other one is Google Places, Google My Places, and the third is Idaho Trails if I'm planning on riding in Idaho. So, let me first take you through a little tour on Google Earth. I know you've used it a little bit before, but there's some tools that I wasn't aware of until I started doing some digging that come in really handy. So the first one is, I'll show you layers and how they work. So in Google Earth you have layers, basically overlays of different things that can show up on your map. They do this so that your map doesn't become overly crowded with things, and so you don't become overwhelmed with information that you're looking at, especially on these zoomed out areas. So it's over here on the bottom left are your layers. I like to always have borders and labels, kind of keeps me oriented to where I'm at. If I don't have those on, there's literally just nothing out there. And then roads, keeps me aware of highways. Whenever I'm planning my route, I always want to know how far my dad's going to have to drive to come pick me up when my bike breaks down. So I like to kind of have those as reference whenever I'm planning through my different places. Another useful tool is your information that comes from the Us Geological Surveys. And those are a simple add-in. I'm going to send you all these files. I'm going to email them to you so you can simply open it, drag it in. It'll pop in under your temporary places. Then you can drag all the folders up into My Places, and then it will be saved permanently on your Google Earth. In fact, I think if you click Sign In over here and you sign in with your password and username, then you can actually save them to your account. Then you'll have them saved forever on the Google Cloud, which is super handy because I never know when I'm going to crash my computer and delete everything. So that's one little thing you could be aware of. A couple other little tools. Obviously, your sunset, sunrise. If you're going to ride towards the evening, then you kind of want to be aware where you're going to be at certain different times of the day. I've never really gotten into that too much. So let's go through the process of how you'd kind of approach this planning process. So let's say you want to plan a ride with Kate. So you're probably going to come to Idaho Trails right here, which, by the way, they've done some major updating to this site, and it's awesome. Like, they have some cool different ways you can look at maps, and in fact, if you're riding in Idaho, I dare say you could probably get away with only planning your rides in here and just kind of, like you said, printing off maps and kind of getting a good familiar look of where you're going before you actually leave. But for longer, like multi-day trips, then you definitely want your GPS and be able to plan out multiple days. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to come to this just idahomaps.gov. It will bring it to this site. Then you can click on this link up here. It says Google Earth Files. When you click on that, this link will pop up, and then you can download all of these different trails. These trails are all categorized in different areas. So these different dots, like for example, the red dot one, I think is, if I remember right, is the red is non-motorized. So those are ones we can't go on. Those are like horse trails and things. Anyway, when you go to this new tab, you'll have all these options, and as soon as you click on it, it will pop up on the bottom here and download. So once you have that, we'll just run this one as an example. It'll come to your download location wherever you have it set default to. You then come to Google Earth and you go File. There we go. I was recording a trip, whatever. Okay, File, Open, and then go to Downloads, and sure enough, there's my ATV. We'll just grab the first one that I got, because I checked on this before I started this video. It will bring it in, and now you can see the map has updated with all the ATV trails across all of Idaho, and so this is helpful because now you have an overlay of all your trails and where you want to go and which ones you want to hit. If you want to hide that information, it's just like the bottom layers. You just simply click the checkbox next to it and it goes away. Okay, so let's go into how you might go about planning. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was how to export them to your GPS. But I'm going to have to do a video on that later because I haven't figured that out quite yet. The other thing that was useful I'm going to send to you is this Snotel Station. This is really good for if you're planning on riding early on in the season and you're worried about hitting snow. There's different places that have different elevations, like Sheep Mountain over here. has an elevation of 6,500 feet, and their snow water equivalent is 0.3 inches. It doesn't look like they have a live info on snow on that one, but some of these other ones, like yellow, shows you, or these other ones have live data of what is at their location, like Grand Targhee has gotten a lot of snow. So right now they're at 36.3 inches and 31 inches of precipitation. So anyway, their snow depth is 84 inches, so that let you know that that's how much snow is at that location. So when you're planning out your ride, you kind of get a feel, and it tells you when it's updated. So it looks like this one. You click on the link, it'll bring up the website, and it will show you when that snow was last checked on. And so you click on Blackwater, process the selection, and then there you can see that there's the average year, and this was Tuesday, December 22nd. And anyway, there's all your information, and you can go from there and figure that out. I just thought it was really useful for when I'm planning out my ride. Be like, I wonder how much snow is back in that area right now, because snow really kills your ride. So you can use that as a resource too. Like I said, I'm just going to pack all this up into one file and then send it to you. It's going to be massive, so I might have to do like a big file transfer to you or something, but it's good to have all of it in one place. All right, so let's say I want to do a ride from your house over to Sandy's. We'll just recreate that ride. So we want to recreate my Idaho Falls to Star Valley ride. And there you can see there's the whole loop. It went down, It went down over by Palisades, and I think we got caught right about here in the river, and then we had to ride this part right here to get out, and this is where you drove along the side of the lake to come get me. But there's the whole loop. So let me show you how I did it. So there's here in Google Earth, we could go along and we could come down here, and let me hide this now. You can say, oh, I want to follow this road, and I want to follow the markers all the way along. And you can do that. You can go like this, and you can click here, and click here, and go along like this, along the route you want to go on. And that's fine, but it takes freaking forever if you want to do this for any amount of mileage. The way you end it is like that, and now you've got the track, and then you can save it. And another one that's really useful, this one's built into Google Earth, so you don't have to even download and open anything, is your parks and recreational areas. If you're going to do camping along your trip, then you can go ahead and click on that button, and it will pop up with your campground areas. And those are nice if you're mixing, off-road and on-road stuff. You can see if there's places to stop and look out, peaks to see, all that kind of stuff. Kind of helps you when you're planning your route out. I think I showed you how to save the route. If I showed you how to click along, let me show you that again so that it makes sense. So here's your house. Normally in Google Earth, you click your path button, your new path button, and you click along the route like this. And we're going to go up this way. We're going to stop here. Then we're going to go along here. Like I said, this is great for short trips through the off-road, and they're fine. But you have to sit there and do that for every single point you want to hit along the map. So it's like, that's going to suck if we have to do it for any amount of time that's very long at all. So this is where I like to bring in Google My Places that I mentioned before. So I'll just cancel this. Normally you'd press OK here, and then it would be under here on your left pane here. See how it says Untitled Path? So now you can see that there's a path there that's white, and you can go in and you can change the properties of it. So for example, you wanted to make it red so it would show up. That's for the points. But if you wanted to do the lines that had a lot thicker, then you could change them red, and then you can see the path really well. So that's just trying to get you familiar with how those work. And the nice thing is it color codes them over here too. So if you're doing multi-day, or you say we want to stop here and turn it into different parts, or I'll show you after you plan your route and you got it all set up, then you can right-click here and you can if I remember right, I hope I'm doing this correctly. Another thing that is useful is you can get the elevation profile. So when you're doing your ride, you can look out for steep spots. So right here, it looks like I clicked barely off the road, and that's why you're seeing a big jump. So it's going from like on the road to just off the road, and I think there's like a, no, that's clear off. There's like a drop off right here. So my GPS picked up the spot in the bottom of the trough, and my other GPS point picked up the point on top of the road, and that's why you're seeing that big disconnect right there. But there's a way, if I remember, to save this as a KML file. So, let me just save place as. That's what it is. Save place as, and then you can make it a KML or KMZ, and that's what you're going to export to your GPS handheld, and then it will show up on a map there. The other thing that's cool about that is, I think I showed you before, I haven't showed you yet, is this little maneuver. The Us Geological Survey has their backcountry maps all laid out. If you click on this little box right here, it'll show the different areas that each of the boxes cover. And let's turn the transparency up so you can see. So you got the different areas and their names. So if we go to ozone here, and then we click View Map, what it actually does is it goes online and it queries the servers, the US Geological Surveys servers, and it downloads it for you. So if I click View Map, hopefully it works, it'll actually bring up the Geological Surveys map. So again, I can bring my little path tool in here, and I can follow the road. So there's Sunnyside Road, there's dirt roads, there's hiking paths, streams, all those kinds of markers. And again, as I mentioned before, I can add paths along here and click it all along the way. And then I can save it like I showed you before. So, but let's say I don't want this, it's kind of busy, it's in the way, or I had part of a route here that I want to see and now it's getting in the way, it's bugging me. I just click the box and it gets out of the way and I can continue planning my route. If you want to download that map to your device, I think you can do the same thing and turn that into a KMZ. I may be wrong, I've never done that before, but I'll have to check into that and get back to you. Alright, this video is getting a little long. I'll hurry and jump over to how I do, how I get resources for maps and tracks and things, rides that other people have done. So this is Chrome. So I showed you how to get on Idaho trails, download those. Did I do that? Yeah, I did. Get on a Google on Idaho trails and look at their maps, and I showed you what each of those means. Another one that's a really good resource is the Idaho Backcountry Discovery Routes. These are guys that ride BMW GSs and KTM Adventures, so some larger 1000cc, 300-pound plus motorcycles. And they build routes that have a little bit more road in them, like tar road. But if you want to cover a lot of distance, these guys have some great resources. And they have done rides through all of these states. And basically what they do is they cover the road, they cover the distance of the state. So they've actually gone all the way from Arizona through Utah and then through Idaho or in Nevada. So there's a bunch of different rides, but you can look at that website as well. And then Motorcycle Jazz, I know you mentioned you couldn't find T3, and that makes sense because they have since updated this website to 2015, and they've actually deleted the T3 and incorporated it into the T1. And what they do is, I think it's on this page. Nope, I think it's on the last page. What they've done is they've labeled all the bailout routes, is what they call them, as purple. And that way you can take your dual sport and go around. So I am including in the files I'm sending you that ride along with all the bailout routes. And that's called Tour of Idaho 2015. Let me get this out of the way. It's called Tour of Idaho 2015. I will let you know that it has somewhere around like 10,000 data points. So that means like every data point has a speed, has a velocity, it has a direction, sometimes they even have temperature on them. So you can watch the guys ride through the entire thing on how fast they were going. And so it's pretty large. So when I click on it, hopefully my computer can load it up without too much of a struggle. And there it is. So you can see that all the hundreds of data points there that are just covering the whole state. So tons of data and an awesome ride, I've heard. And I think Jen and I saw part of it, but it kind of goes out towards the east of you guys, or west of you guys. It doesn't really go east where I think you want to ride. So there's Idaho Falls. You can kind of see where it's laid out. But I wanted to show you real quick just how much data is contained in these things. So this is just one point. If I click on this, it gets everything in there. Let me show you one last tool that I use that is super helpful. So I mentioned that you can sit there and drag a path, and that's fine and dandy if you have lots of patience. But another one that's really helpful, and this is what I used with you, was Google My Places, or My Maps. Yeah, My Maps is what it's called. And what this is an actual account you have built into your Gmail account, and you can do a really powerful thing where Google does auto routing for you. So that's super, super nice. So I started making this route on here, and then I transferred it over to Google Earth, and I'll show you how I did that here. So I think we did, we'll do this one. So here is Jen Land's tour of Utah, this dream that I had that we were going to ride our motorcycles through all of Utah, or to a portion of it. We were actually thinking we're probably going to stop right down here in Provo and then have her parents come get us and bring us back. But nonetheless, this was our plan. So it's pretty easy to do, and I like it, like I said, because it has auto routing. So let's say I wanted to go from right over here somewhere. There's like Temple Fork. Yeah, it's like right here. And it comes out and actually joins up with the top canyons. But I was like, well, I could go down here and I could find the road and I could carry it all the way up, but that would take forever, and I don't have that kind of patience. So instead, what you can do is have Google auto route it for you. And the way you do that is you come over here and you say get direction or add directions. When you do that, it'll come up and you say you're going to be driving, and what that'll do is it'll put you on all of the drivable routes. You can do biking, and it'll put you on biking routes, but you got to be careful because sometimes Google Earth will put you on roads that you're not supposed to have your motorcycle on. But most of the time, if you can bicycle on it, you can motorcycle on it. So anyway, you go right here, and I think the way this works, if I remember right, you can actually drag it. So let's say I wanted to go from Logan to Bear Lake, but I wanted to take all back roads. So first thing I do is I type in Logan here, and don't be too concerned about what you're starting and ending with, because you can change it later. You can drag your points around and change it where you want to go. But I want to go to Bear Lake, and the only reason I put these ones is because that's the ones I'm used to. I know this area a little bit. So let me try Bear Lake, Utah. Let's change this to car. So it pulls up. What you think Google Earth would always pull up is your simple, we're going to go straight to the canyon, we're going to do the fastest route. But we wanted to go off-road. So what we can do is take this and we can drag it up here like this. And you can see that Google Earth is routing it along this road for you. See how it did that? It found the route all the way down the canyon. So it's looking at all the dirt roads in that area, and it knows which ones are drivable by regular vehicles. And you can continue to drag it all the way over here. Now you see how it changed the route? That's what's super powerful about this. It automatically, as soon as I drag those two new dots, see the white dot there and the white dot there, it knew that it was going to reroute the entire ride over to Bear Lake. So when you're planning rides for you and Kate, and you're like, I want to make this loop, but I don't want to sit there and look at all the different roads, you can drag some dots. You can drag some dots around and have the whole route automatically routed for you by Google Earth or Google Maps. So anyway, I know this is long-winded. It probably took a lot longer than I was intending, but I will try to shorten it up in the editing. And if you have any questions, just give me a call. We'll talk to you later, Dad. Thanks. Bye.